The Sanatorium is a story founded on my own experiences, and if you like to take the character of Ashenden as a flattering portrait of the old party who stands before you, you're at perfect liberty to do so.
Sanatorium. Ashenden had contracted tuberculosis of the lungs, and since at the time there were reasons that made it difficult for him to travel to Switzerland, the specialist he saw in London had sent him to a sanatorium in the north of Scotland.
Is this the first time you've been here, sir?
Yes.
I thought I hadn't seen you before.
You say that as though most of them come back again.
Oh, there's quite a few that don't. Scotland's a grand place. Got the best climate in the world. And this is the best climate in Scotland.
And your heart's in the Highlands all right, I see.
Aye, that's it, sir. Oh, I was in America once, but I had to come away. Terrible weather they have in that country. I was in one place where they hadn't had a drop of rain for 6 months. That's it, sir. Up there on the hill yonder, behind the firs.
Oh, yes, big place.
Aye, it's a real house, all right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You're Mr. Ashenden, I expect.
Yes.
I'm Miss Harding, the matron. Dr. Lennox is waiting for you.
Good.
This way, Mr. Ashenden.
He's quite handsome, isn't he?
I'm sure he can't be 40.
He was 40 on the 9th of September. I didn't get time to read all his papers, but I'm certain of that.
Dr. Lennox shouldn't leave his patients' papers about. I don't think it's nice.
He doesn't, as a rule. It just happened that he was called away from his room for a minute when I dropped in to see him this morning. And there were Mr. Ashenden's papers spread out on his desk. The X-ray photos and everything.
And what was your impression of his lungs?
I think it's only his left one. But I didn't have my proper glasses.
Excellent. Excellent. Some of the best I've seen.
My lungs?
No. This second batch of X-rays. I must ask Mayhart who did them. First rate.
Dr. Lennox, I don't know your methods here, but there are one or two things I'd like to ask you.
Far away.
What are my chances? And don't be gentle with me.
I won't. There's no need to be. You're taking it in good time.
You mean you can do something about it?
We can't guarantee anything, of course. It depends so much on yourself. But if you cooperate and do as we tell you, there's no reason why you shouldn't be completely cured.
Well, how long will it take?
Oh, impossible to say. It might be 6 months, might be a year. Every case is different.
If you'd asked me, I should have said he was sound as a bell. He didn't look like an ordinary consumptive.
Oh, but he isn't. It isn't hereditary. His grandfather died of heart at 83. And his father had a rhomboid.
A rhomboid?
Yes.
But a rhomboid's a thing they use in drawing lessons.
Well, that's what his father died of. Unless it was my wrong glasses.
I'll show you to your room. You'd better go to bed right away.
Go to bed? But I haven't had a day in bed since I had measles when I was 9.
Well, now you're going to make up for it by having 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Not a day less.
Well, what am I supposed to do all day?
Eat, sleep, and read.
Is that all?
Isn't it enough?
Well, I shall want a lot more books.
Oh, we've a grand wee library here. I'll get you a few to be going on with.
That's very good of you.
Not a bit. I once read a story of yours that changed my whole life.
Who's that playing?
Oh, that'll be Mr. Campbell. He's your next-door neighbour.
So I hear.
Don't you like music?
In moderation?
They do say Mr. Campbell only plays to annoy Mr. MacLeod up above in number 26.
Apparently he succeeds.
Oh, they're a pair, those two. But you get used to them. We all have. There. Cheery bye.
because you're up for the first time, don't think you can do everything at once. Take it easy for a day or two, and don't exert yourself.
Not even for a walk?
No, not even for a walk. I'll tell you when you can attempt that. You can go as far as the veranda, but that's all. Come along now. And meet your fellow prisoners. You'll find them much the same as anyone else, except for a bit more light and darkness in them, if you know what I mean.
In what way?
Well, the illness seems to bring out the best or worst in people. Sharpens the edges of their strength and weakness. Take those two playing chess, for instance. They're our oldest inhabitants. The one on the right's MacLeod. He's been here 17 years. The other one's Campbell. He's been here over 16. They hate each other like poison, fight like dog and cat, but they're never out of each other's sight. I don't think they could live without one another. Before you make the next move, I'd like to introduce Mr. Ashenden. He's down for the first time today. Mr. MacLeod, Mr. Campbell.
How do you do? Always glad to see a new face. I've been looking at that one for 16 years.
Well, don't let me disturb your game.
Oh, that's all right. I've got him beaten anyway. In a couple of moves, I'll...
Check.
What are you talking about?
I said check.
Where'd that bishop come from?
Here.
It wasn't there 10 seconds ago when I looked away.
Are you accusing me of cheating?
Yes. He's always like that when he loses. Do you play?
Not much.
Pity.
Mr. Ashenden's down, I see.
Yes, that's one worry off my shoulders at last. The books he got through.
You've been librarian too long. You should let someone else have the job for a change.
Oh, no. I enjoyed too much, in the normal way. But his reading capacity was quite extraordinary. I believe he's sending to London now for some most peculiar books.
How do you know?
Matron told me. Oh, and I nearly forgot. We've a new man coming this morning, a Major Templeton.
Templeton? Not George Templeton.
Why, do you know him?
I wonder if it's the same one.
I don't know if his name's George, but he was in the Guards.
It must be George.
Is he a relation of yours?
Good gracious, no. Nobody in our family would behave like George Templeton. He once got a niece of mine into the most awful trouble.
No.
Yes, I'll tell you about it one day. But now I must see Dr. Lennox and find out if it's really he or not. I shall make a point of cutting him dead.
Where's your room?
The first floor, number 15.
Oh, small. I know every room in the place. Mine's number 26. That makes Campbell angry.
Oh, why?
It's the best room in the house. He wants it for himself. He keeps badgering the doctor for him, but I won't budge. Not for a fella like that. Besides, I came here 6 months before he did.
And 17 years is a long while.
Oh, well, time passes quickly, and I like it here. Care for me to show you around?
Well, thanks.
If I went back to ordinary life now, I'd hate it. All my old pals would have gone their own ways. I wouldn't have anything in common with them anymore.
Oh, allow me.
After this, the world's just a silly, noisy rush.
What do you do with yourself all day?
Do? TB's a whole-time job, my boy. There's my temperature to take, and then I weigh myself. I don't hurry with my dressing. I have my breakfast, I read the papers, and go for a walk. Then I have my rest, I lunch and play bridge. I have another rest and dine. I play a bit more bridge and go to bed.
Doesn't it become a little monotonous?
No, we've quite a decent library here. We got all the new books, but I haven't much time for reading. No, I like to talk to people. We meet all sorts here. They come and they go. Sometimes they go because they think they're cured, but a lot of them come back again. Sometimes they go because they die. I've seen a lot of people out, and I expect to see a lot more.
Mr. MacLeod is all for looking on the bright side of things.
Aye, with a smile on my lips and a tear in my eye. Burns.
That's Scott.
Oh, well, it was one of them anyway. Miss Bishop, this is Mr. Ashenden.
How do you do?
How do you do?
She's English, but she can't help that.
How long have you been here?
Only 2 years. Dr. Lennox says I'll be all right in a few months' time and I can go home.
Don't be silly. Stay where you're well off. That's what I say.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Major Templeton,
That's right.
will you come along in?
Oh, Dr. Lennox, I've been looking for you everywhere.
Something wrong?
Well, I'm not sure till I've asked you something. Something private.
Perhaps you'd better come inside.
Thank you. Please don't think me inquisitive,
Won't
Doctor.
you sit down?
No, 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 thank you. But I really must know if the Major Templeton expected today is George Templeton.
Yes, I think so. Why?
But he's the most disreputable man. He's a rake and a libertine. He was correspondent in my poor niece's divorce case, and he wouldn't marry her. They wouldn't have been happy, of course, but they would have been respectable. I really don't think you ought to let him come here.
Mrs. Whitbread, Major Templeton's morals are no concern of mine or of anyone else's in this sanatorium. As long as he is under this roof, he is my patient, and I shall do my utmost to bring him back to health. Come in.
Major Templeton, Doctor.
Ah, come in.
Who's that old girl? I seem to know the face.
She's one of our patients. Sit down.
Thank you.
I always like to get in before the rush.
Where does one sit? Do we have regular places?
Oh, yes, yes. Of course, you can't expect to get the best table yet. That's a matter of time.
I expect you've got a pretty good one by now.
Aye, with Campbell.
With Campbell?
It's easier that way. He's got a filthy temper, and I'm the only one that can deal with him.
Mr. Ashenden, I put you over here next to Miss Bishop.
You'll be all right now.
This is Mr. Ashenden.
Yeah, we've met.
Mr. and Mrs. Chester.
How do you do?
Did you have a good walk?
Well, I'm not allowed anything as daring as that for a day or two, but it looked lovely country.
It is beautiful, isn't it? Henry and I got right down to the river this morning. Didn't we, dear?
Yes.
Mrs. Chester isn't a patient. She's our guest for the day.
So you're staying here?